I want you to think about the absolute best nonfiction book you read last year.
Oh, that's a good test.
Right. Really picture it. Now, try to remember just three actionable, specific things from it. Just three.
Yeah, that is harder than it sounds.
It really is. If your mind just went completely blank and you are like struggling to recall even a single bullet point, you are not alone. And it doesn't mean you weren't paying attention.
No, not at all. It is a universal frustration, isn't it?
Exactly. So today we are looking at why traditional learning is essentially, well, an educational dead end and how you can actually make knowledge stick.
Because we consume so much information. We sit through these long seminars, we read articles, and yet we retain just a fraction of it.
Yeah, the brain is it's quite ruthless when it comes to deciding what to keep and what to just throw away. Which is exactly why we are diving into this today. Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission is to figure out why the things we try to learn evaporate so quickly. We're looking at how continuous reinforcement can actually alter your daily behavior. And we are going to get into the hidden science of how daily habits quietly control nearly half of your entire life.
It's mind-blowing. And our source material today offers a really unique window into this.
Yeah, tell them what we're looking at.
So we are examining an audio recording of a 2-month follow-up review session. This was for a corporate training program at a company called Hair.
Right.
But we are not just looking at this as some dry corporate check-in. It is a fascinating psychological case study on human behavioral change. You know, what happens when theoretical concepts actually hit the chaotic reality of a normal workday?
Okay, let's jump right into the core problem they identified in this audio, which is the utter failure of the standard one-day train. I mean, you know the drill.
Oh yeah, we all do.
You sit in a conference room, you look at 100 slides, drink terrible coffee, and the assumption is that you walk out a completely changed person.
Exactly. And you hear directly from the employees in the recording about why that doesn't work.
Yeah, two participants in particular.
Right, Ahmed Shahzad and Abdul Hanan. They're brutally honest about it. They point out that usually within 2 to 3 days of a major training session,
Just 2 or 3 days.
yeah, everything they learned is just gone. Completely vanished into the ether of unread emails and, urgent meetings.
Okay, let's unpack this because looking at the biology of how we learn, this makes total sense. But why does that happen? Like, why do we lose it in 3 days?
It's a well-documented phenomenon in cognitive psychology. It's known as the forgetting curve.
The forgetting curve, right?
You see, the human brain is highly efficient, but it's optimized for survival, not for storing 100 PowerPoint slides. When you take in a massive amount of new information, your brain holds it temporarily. But if you don't actively review or apply that information, your brain naturally prunes those neural pathways away.
To make room for other stuff.
Exactly, to make room for immediate survival-level tasks. Things like navigating traffic, meeting a sudden deadline, dealing with an angry client. It just discards what it deems non-essential.
It just dumps the cash.
Yes, perfect way to put it.
And the trainer leading this session, he knew that. So his solution wasn't to just give them a thicker manual or a better binder.
No, not at all.
He explicitly told them that the one-day training was just a starting point, not an ending point. What he did next was fascinating.
Right, he shifted the entire paradigm. Instead of relying on their memory, he relied on his own persistence.
Which is brilliant.
He sent short, focused emails 3 to 4 times a week for 2 full months following the training.
Every morning, right?
Every morning, yeah. Mixed right in with their usual chaotic inbox, there was a quick recap, just a single slide, a brief reminder of a core concept. He essentially inserted himself into their daily environment.
I love thinking about this in terms of gardening, of all things.
Okay.
Because traditional training is just a massive data dump. It's like taking a giant 50-gallon drum of water and dumping it on a dry, potted plant all at once.
Oh, I see where you're going.
The soil simply can't absorb it, right? Most of the water just spills over the sides, makes a muddy mess, and the roots actually stay completely dry.
Right.
But what this trainer did with those biweekly emails, that's drip irrigation for the mind. 3 or 4 little drops a week. It slowly nourishes the roots, allowing for lasting change without overwhelming the system.
That is a perfect way to visualize the cognitive load. What's crucial here is the timing and the frequency.
The morning emails.
Yeah, by sending those emails first thing in the morning, he was hacking their morning routine to bypass that forgetting curve we talked about. Abdul Hanan actually mentioned in the audio that seeing that email served as a catalyst. It helped him plan his whole day around those concepts.
Wow.
The trainer's true success wasn't necessarily that his material was revolutionary, it was the strategic maintenance of a continuous presence.
Because it just kept popping up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He essentially forced their brains to categorize the information as essential for survival because it kept appearing in their environment.
So if this, drip irrigation method actually worked, what did that look like for the employees on the ground? Because the source material shifts from these abstract concepts into incredibly tangible structural life changes.
It looked like total restructuring for some of them. Take a participant named Adnan, for example.
Oh, yeah, the life wheel.
Right. He used a framework from the training called the life wheel. It's a tool that divides your life into 4 distinct quadrants: spiritual, social, physical, and mental. He used it to visually rate his life. And the result was just an immediate revelation of his blind spots.
Wait, does drawing a simple matrix or a life wheel actually cure a complaining attitude? Or sorry, I'm skipping ahead. What's fascinating to me is how simply drawing a wheel changes your perception. Like, why does a visual tool work so much better than just sitting down and thinking, oh, I need to get my life together?
What's fascinating here is how that visual geometry bypasses our own cognitive dissonance.
Oh, okay. Explain that.
Well, we are very good at lying to ourselves about how balanced we are. But a wheel only rolls smoothly if it is actually perfectly round.
Right.
When Adnan mapped it out, he realized his physical and spiritual spokes were completely broken. The visual representation forces the brain to confront reality. If one quadrant is severely depleted, the whole structure of your life just thumps along painfully.
And Adnan took this physical visualization to heart. He didn't just look at it and shrug. He made very specific changes.
Huge changes.
He cut out junk food, started jogging in the evenings to fix the physical spoke, and found balance by committing to his 5 daily prayers and reading the Quran to repair the spiritual spoke. He literally rebuilt the architecture of his daily life.
It's incredible. And then you have a participant named Arisha.
Her story was so relatable.
Right. She was dealing with a completely different kind of imbalance. It was intense cognitive overload at work.
Yeah.
She described this horrible, suffocating feeling of having tasks continuously pile up. She was trying to juggle 6 different complex projects simultaneously.
Which is cognitively exhausting. I mean, we have all been there, where every single ping on your computer feels like a 5-alarm fire.
Yes, exactly. The human brain cannot prioritize 6 emergencies at once. It just panics.
Yeah.
But Arisha utilized a tool called the Urgent Matrix. It's a simple grid that forces you to segregate tasks based on 2 axes: urgency and importance.
So it filters the noise.
Yes. She forced herself to categorize what was actually an urgent, drop-everything crisis versus what was just loud noise.
So by plotting them on a grid, she was physically moving the tasks out of her anxious brain and onto paper. Which brings us to Gohar. This guy is an auditor.
Oh, yes.
And if there is a job that is defined by daily crises, sudden demands, and just unexpected fires, it's auditing.
Absolutely. And Gohar's approach was highly systematic. He started using a rigid 15-day schedule to separate high-risk tasks from low-risk tasks. He even started using color-coded red notes for top priorities.
Okay, I want to pause on the color coding because it sounds so basic, sticky notes. But why does that actually work for someone who is just drowning in stress?
Because when you are stressed, your executive function gets severely compromised.
Just the prefrontal cortex, right?
Exactly, the part that sorts, plans, and prioritizes. You literally lose the ability to easily decide what to do next. So by using a red sticky note, Gohar was outsourcing that sorting process. The environment holds the priority, not his tired brain.
So he just sees red and reacts.
A red note instantly triggers visual processing speed. He doesn't have to think about what to do, the color tells him.
And the craziest part of Gohar's story wasn't his new work efficiency. It was the ripple effect. Because he managed his chaos and outsourced that executive function at work, his fatigue at home plummeted. He actually started reconnecting with his friends and family.
Because the cognitive exhaustion of unstructured stress, it doesn't just clock out at 5 p.m.
Oh, definitely not.
It follows you home. If you spend 8 hours in a state of high-alert panic, your adrenal system is fried by the time you walk through your front door.
Which leads perfectly into the emotional toll of this chaos. It's not just about missed deadlines or being tired. It actively breeds resentment.
Yeah, that's where Asghar comes in.
Right, Asghar. He's a participant in the audio who actually admitted that getting these daily email reminders and structuring his day cured his complaining attribute.
That was his phrase, yeah.
He said he used to create a mess out of everything, but by prioritizing his tasks, he started looking at things positively. But I have to push back slightly here to play devil's advocate.
Okay, go for it.
Wait, does drawing a simple matrix or color coding a 15-day schedule actually cure a complaining attitude? Or is it just the psychological relief of finally feeling like you have your hands on the steering wheel?
What's fascinating here is that this raises an important question about agency.
Hmm.
And the answer is essentially the latter. But that doesn't make it any less transformative.
Interesting.
You have to understand that a complaining attitude is almost always a symptom of feeling powerless. When you are overwhelmed by a mess of tasks, you feel like a victim of your circumstances. Things are happening to you.
Right. Complaining is just a verbal defense mechanism.
Exactly. The tools themselves, the matrix, the schedule, the life wheel, they're just simple frameworks.
Yeah.
But what they grant is a profound sense of agency.
So it's not the magic of the matrix itself. It's the realization that you are no longer a victim of your inbox.
Precisely. When professional chaos is managed, personal well-being naturally follows. You see this echoed by another employee, Osama, in the recording as well.
Oh yeah, he talked about his energy levels.
He noted a newfound energy and motivation at work. Tasks that used to make him annoyed or bored suddenly had a positive momentum. Why? Because when you know exactly how to tackle a problem, the friction disappears. You aren't wasting emotional energy fighting the chaos. You are just executing the plan.
Which brings up a really scary realization for you as a listener. If we need these highly conscious, structured frameworks just to function properly and not be overwhelmed, what are we doing the rest of the time?
That is the big question.
The trainer in the audio brings up this 2006 Duke University research study that is just mind-blowing. It states that 40% of our daily actions are not conscious decisions at all. They are habits.
40%. Almost half of everything you do today, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, will not be a choice.
That's insane.
It is a scripted routine running automatically in the background of your basal ganglia.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Think about an airplane. We all walk around believing we are the active pilots of our daily lives, firmly gripping the yoke, navigating every cloud, making hundreds of conscious choices. But the math shows we are literally on autopilot for nearly half the flight.
Yeah.
I want you to think about your own morning today. Did you actively choose to make coffee first, or did your hands just start doing it while your brain was still waking up?
Probably the latter.
The first things we do, checking our phones, smoking, drinking tea, opening an email, we aren't deciding to do them. The autopilot just clicks on.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of cognitive load, it explains exactly how Adnan was able to change his life with that wheel.
How so?
The Duke study implies that if you want to change your life, you cannot rely on sheer willpower for every single decision. Willpower is like a battery. It depletes over the course of the day. Habits do not.
Ah, I see.
Adnan's decision to cut junk food and start jogging wasn't about making a brutally hard choice every single day forever. That would fail. It was about consciously reprogramming his autopilot's coordinates. He stacked a new positive habit over an old bad one until it became the default setting.
You're either engineering your habits or you are a prisoner of them. And the trainer makes a brilliant point that corporations have known this for a century.
They absolutely have.
If humans are prisoners of habit, how do external forces hack into those habits to make us do what they want? He tells these incredible commercial case studies. Let's look at Pepsodent tooth powder in the 1930s.
This is one of the classic examples in behavioral economics of manufacturing a habit loop. Every habit has three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward.
Right. And before World War I, daily toothbrushing was not a global habit. It just wasn't something people woke up and automatically did.
No, dental hygiene was terrible back then.
Pepsodent wanted to change that, but they couldn't just sell dental hygiene. That's too abstract. They engineered a worldwide routine by marketing two very simple, tangible things to hack the cue and the reward.
And what were those?
They told people to run their tongue over their teeth to feel the film, the Gund, as the trainer calls it, and they promised that brushing would guarantee a beautiful smile and a tingling mouth.
They manufactured a craving. The film on people's teeth was always there, naturally occurring, but Pepsodent made people conscious of it as a physical cue.
Yeah.
The moment you feel the film, the autopilot clicks on you brush. The routine is brushing. The reward was that engineered tinkling sensation and the promised smile.
It's crazy.
They didn't just sell toothpaste, they literally embedded a brand new morning ritual into the human species by hacking the habit loop.
And then on the flip side, there's the Febreze story, which is the perfect example of what happens when you completely misunderstand the mechanics of human habits.
Oh, this is a great story.
Procter & Gamble created this groundbreaking odor-eliminating spray in the mid-90s. Around 1995 or 96, they marketed it as a cleaner. Logically, it makes sense. You have a smelly couch, you spray Febreze, the smell goes away. Problem solved.
But it failed.
It completely flopped. Nobody bought it.
The logic was sound, but the underlying psychology was flawed. They failed to account for a biological mechanism called sensory adaptation, or what the trainer brilliantly describes as being nose-blind.
Yes. The trainer uses this vivid example of a shepherd. If you sit next to a shepherd who spends all day, every day with his goats, you are going to smell the goats. To you, it was overwhelming. But the shepherd,
He doesn't smell a thing.
he smells absolutely nothing. The smell of the goats is just the baseline of his reality.
And there is a neurological reason for that. The olfactory receptors in our noses actually fatigue. When you are exposed to a scent constantly, whether it's pets, cigarette smoke, a damp basement, those receptors stop sending signals to your brain.
They just turn off.
Your brain categorizes the smell as non-threatening background noise to save processing power for new, potentially dangerous smells.
Okay.
So the people who desperately needed Febreze, the ones living in deeply smelly environments, had no cue to use the product. They couldn't smell the problem.
So P&G is panicking, ready to fire the whole marketing team. But then they pivot and they look at the people who are using it.
Right.
They realized people were using the spray after they had just spent hours cleaning a room. But the original formula of Febreze had no scent of its own. It just neutralized odors. It lacked a feel-good reward. You sprayed it, and nothing happened.
So what do they do?
So P&G adds a fresh fragrance. They completely remarket it. It's no longer an odor killer for dirty rooms. It is the glorious, fresh-smelling reward you spray at the exact moment you finish cleaning a room.
They stopped trying to invent a new habit and instead attached their product to an existing habit loop.
The cue was a freshly cleaned room.
The routine was spraying Febreze, and the reward was taking a deep breath of that engineered fresh scent to signal the job was done. That slight tweak in understanding how the human brain processes rewards turned a massive failure into a billion-dollar product.
Which brings us to perhaps the funniest, most relatable part of the audio.
The dad habit.
The dad habit. The trainer is talking to all these hair employees about habit loops, and he confesses his own ultimate unbreakable dad habit. Every morning he wakes up and the very first thing he does, almost entirely unconsciously, is walk over and turn off the air conditioning unit to save electricity.
Even with his kids there.
His kids are crying, they're sweating in the heat, and he does not care. The deep, visceral instinct to save money on the electric bill completely overrides his conscious decision-making.
It is the frugal parent routine, deeply embedded in his morning autopilot. The cue is waking up, the routine is turning off the AC, and the reward is the psychological relief of saving money.
So, what does this all mean for the everyday user? The absolute irony here is that he is telling this story to Hair employees. Hair's own research and development department literally had to invent auto timers and Wi-Fi shutoff features for their air conditioners to accommodate the deeply ingrained money-saving habits of dads everywhere.
They had to work around it.
They realized they couldn't stop the dads from waking up and turning it off, so they built the machines to hack the habit for them. They engineered the environment because the human habit was too strong to break.
This raises an important question, though, and it ties everything together perfectly.
How so?
Successful personal development, like Adnan fixing his life wheel or Gohar color-coding his schedule, and successful product development, like Hair Billion Auto Timer or P&G saving Febreze, rely on the exact same underlying mechanism.
Right.
You cannot fight human habits with just logic, willpower, or a one-day training seminar. You have to understand the mechanics of the habit loop, the cue, the routine, and the reward, and you have to alter the environment to hack the system from the inside out.
You know, sitting here thinking through the mechanics of all this, it really makes you look at your own day completely differently. We started this deep dive talking to you about why traditional learning evaporates. And the truth is, it evaporates because it never makes the leap from conscious thought to automatic habit. We are all in some way prisoners of our daily routines.
The 40% rule is always running in the background.
Always. But as those employees proved with their drip-feed emails, their urgent matrices, and their life wheels, once you physically map out those routines, you aren't a prisoner anymore. You can step out of the chaos. By outsourcing your stress to a visual framework, you can consciously engineer your own best version rather than just letting the day happen to you.
And that leads to a final thought I really want to leave you with today.
Go ahead.
We've seen how Adnan engineered his habits for a more balanced life,
Mm.
and how Gohar hacked his stress for a better home life. But we've also seen how massive companies like Pepsi and Procter & Gamble engineer human habits strictly for profit. If 40% of your day is spent on absolute autopilot, and multi-billion-dollar companies are spending endless resources to deeply design those exact routines, who is really writing the script for your daily life? You or the products you use?
That is a brilliant and honestly terrifying question to walk away with. Take a hard look at your autopilot coordinates today. Thank you for taking this journey with us. Stay curious, keep questioning your routines, and remember that this has been a deep dive into the hidden architecture of your day. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go figure out if my brain or my coffee machine is actually the one in charge of my morning. We'll catch you next time.